The saintess foresaw that the man she had just kicked would be the chosen one destined to save the three realms. She immediately and discreetly offered him a life-saving sip of water. Then, she deliberately began enchanting chants after nightfall, luring the restless guards who couldn't bear the loneliness to her side and assassinating them all. With the close cooperation of her sisters, the priestess successfully led James and the others to escape from the clutches of the tyrant Hainpuli. The next day, they quietly arrived at the Black Sea dock, planning to steal a slave ship and flee the area. Unexpectedly, just as they dealt with the soldiers on shore, Hainpuli's elite forces suddenly swarmed out from the ship's cabin, surrounding them completely. At this critical moment, Poseidon Oliver could no longer stand it. Wielding his trident, he leaped down from Mount Olympus. With a thunderous crash under clear skies, just as the raging waves came crashing in, James and the others desperately jumped and grabbed onto the dock ropes. The soldiers on the ship had no time to react and were swept by the waves, smashing hard against the rocky cliffs. After the tide receded, the shore was left in complete chaos. With no other choice, they had to temporarily halt their escape and use spring water from mountain crevices to wash the grime from their bodies. After this incident, the priestess advised James that he should return to his homeland to personally bury his mother who had died at the tyrant's hands. But just as James respectfully pushed his mother's remains into the tomb, he suddenly felt the stone slab being blocked by a hard object. He used all his strength but couldn't budge it even slightly. He vaguely discovered that this object seemed to be hidden inside the boulder itself. So James immediately found a heavy hammer and struck down without hesitation. Only then did he discover that the legendary Eppelos divine technique was actually hidden within the tomb. However, just as James was about to share this good news with his companions, he found that the tyrant's subordinates had already arrived and were preparing to strike them down mercilessly. Seeing this, James immediately took out his divine bow and aimed at the enemy forces. With lightning speed, he fired 4 consecutive arrows that accurately pierced through the enemy's vital points. With this powerful weapon in hand, James immediately decided to return to the temple to eliminate the tyrant. However, when they reached their destination, they discovered that the tyrant's forces had already evacuated the area. But before he could take more than a few steps, he realized he had fallen into an ambush. Enemies hidden in the darkness suddenly swept in from all directions. Even James, who was following closely behind, was viciously attacked by surprise. The Eppelos divine technique slipped from his grasp, and the tyrant's pet dog immediately snatched the divine bow away, leaving James and the others to await death. However, at this critical moment, Ares, the god of war, descended from the heavens and harvested all the enemy forces in less than a second. Goddess Athena then descended to earth, bringing James 2 swift horses so they could reach the Los Mountain fortress as quickly as possible before the tyrant led his army of 100,000 to launch their attack. But before she could finish speaking, a golden light descended from the sky. The newcomer was none other than Zeus, king of the gods.